today. So every day we start fresh because we can't affect the past, but we damn sure can make a difference today.
Welcome to episode 46 of Shop Talk. It's Jennifer.
I'm Kari.
And we're recapping 420, otherwise known as part 2 of the FBI rookie spinoff. And, introducing Simone as they're trying to stop a terror attack on the streets of Los Angeles. So returning this week, we had Niecy Nash, obviously as Simone Clark. We have Frankie Fasone as Cutty Clark. Felix came back as Matthew Garza. And then we had Agent Casey Fox as well. And along with some returning characters, we had James and Wesley back. And then we had Smitty make a little appearance. And yeah, it was a good episode. We even heard some more backstory on relationships and more about Agent Fox and Agent Garza. And it was just fun. It was a good episode. So we do have a little bit of news this week. So we have some episode descriptions for next week and then the finale. Do you want to start with next week's?
Sure. So next week's, it's 421. It's called Mother's Day, which is appropriately airing on Mother's Day. The description is Sergeant Gray supports Officer Nolan's desire to become a training officer and offers to ride with him for the day to get him ready. Meanwhile, Tim and Lucy must manage expectations in their respective relationships as they decide on their plans for Mother's Day and a romantic vacation. For guest stars, we have Brent Huff as Smitty. Angel Parker is coming back as Luna. Jane Daly is coming back as Patrice. And oh yay, I forgot Carson's coming back as Lila. And Crystal Coney as Nurse Lisa.
It'll be a fun episode. We got promo pics late at night. And
well, I posted them late at night.
Oh,
my bad.
We're getting to meet Baby Jack for the first time, and people were zooming in, and they were like, "How old is he? We need to know."
I know he looks like he's a year old already.
But then Nyla was like, "Well, it's your first Mother's Day," so it's so he was born then after May, so maybe he's 11 months old or something. 10 months old, he's definitely older. So I don't know. Also, he's in the interrogation room with Wesley, which I'm I feel like Jack is a little too young for that area.
So funny. Yeah.
And then Smitty and Patrice were pictured together too, and people were just Smitty and Patrice going out as a couple, and then someone coined them Patriti or something, and I was wait, where did we come up with Smitty and Patrice or dating? Did I miss that?
I don't know. I think it's just because they're sitting at the table and it looked like their arms are outstretched to each other as they're talking. I don't know if it has a romantic connotation or not, but guess we'll see in a week. I don't know.
I mean, honestly, I could kind of see Smitty taking it there or misunderstanding it, but it would just be funny.
I think it would be absolutely hilarious. And just the fact that since we've both been talking about it, but you're the one that had mentioned what if Smitty got to interact with Baby Jack and babysit or whatever, so if he does get to interact, there you go.
Oh my god, that would be so good.
Yeah.
And then Lila's back, as we said. And there was one promo pic where she's looking up at Nyla, and I was my heart's melted. Also, I look at Nyla like that. So
please, that tweet that the rookie tweeted out last night, and it was Nyla says anything, and a response, ready to risk it all. I'm yep. That is us with our favorites.
For sure.
Which is pretty much everyone. So honestly.
Yeah,
it works regardless.
And then we didn't get any promo pics of Chenford, but the promo itself served us a little bit of anxiety. We should talk about it. Go for it, because you watched it live with everyone.
That was the oddest 5 seconds of a promo. Like that was even like more like not off-putting, but just like I was just like, wait, what? Than like 309 was for me, because at least like it was kind of, I don't know, like I kind of figured, I don't know how to explain it exactly, because like looking back on like 309, I know I was in the camp of like, oh my gosh, what if it is actually like a, feelings confession or whatever, and it like wasn't. So now I'm like, knowing that we're probably going to be clowned, like I'm kind of like it used to being baited, but still it's like it's just very out of character
Yeah.
for Tim, like to do this if it really is a proposal. And
I'm choosing to believe that it's not.
like people were like seeing different things like that he was possibly holding, but it was just like reflections from the
Like window.
yeah, like from the shop behind them, yeah, or from the window. And just I don't know. And then other people were saying that like the background where Lucy is standing is like different than
Oh.
um like the station, like the parking lot. Although I'm trying to remember, because I think in season 2 finale, I think when they were like walking out, it's like a lobby-ish area, and I like oddly remember greenery like
Oh, okay.
scene. So like I don't know if that's like the same like set area, or like
Yeah.
locate, like place in the show, or if it's like if it really is like 2 different scenes and they are baiting us. Like I don't know. I have so many
Yeah.
things. Like there's so many things, and like the whole episode description in and of itself is really throwing me too,
Yeah.
with just the use of respective, which if it's used correctly is supposed to, like correspond with like the list that like comes before it. So like Tim's name corresponds with like the Mother's Day, and then like romantic vacation would imply that that's like for Lucy and Chris.
Yeah.
Although now that no, you know what? Because Ashley's not listed as a
Well, neither is
either.
Chris.
Yeah, I was
But we
just
know
I
that
was
they're
like,
in
wait.
it.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe they just are using it incorrectly to throw me off, unless I've been using it wrong for 20 years of my life, but I don't think so.
I feel like the promo is really baiting us, because like it never mentioned, like in the shop, Lucy and Tim could have been talking like, so where are you guys going on your vacation or whatever? Like it kind of baited us in a way. I don't know. Like we'll see. Because I feel like, I mean, I know for other shows, like it's not even the people that wrote the episode that writes the description. So it could be like totally off, because even in the promo, like we didn't see anything about Gray and Nolan riding together. We saw Nolan like fighting people off, but that was about it.
I think I saw
So
Gray was like in the, like you saw Gray and there was like a person behind him, but it was like for a split second. So like if
yeah.
you like blink and you miss it. So I'm assuming maybe they're the ones that get into like the fight. Which then I think that reminds me, is that the season 1 episode that they rode together, or was that season 2? When they got in the fight with those 2 like guys that they thought were dead, but then they actually like fucking like came back to life, and like attacked them in that house. I can't
I think
remember
that
what
was
episode
season
that
2,
was.
because that was when
Two?
Dominique and Henry were around. Like, because remember,
Was it?
didn't their
Huh.
shirts get all ripped and stuff? And Dominique was
Yeah.
like, you said you would take it easy out there.
What? That might
But
have
they
been season
also rode
1 then.
together in season 1.
That might have been 1. That
Oh,
might have
okay.
been 110, I think.
So then that was the same episode as the, when John's trying to like parallel park or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I look like a game show host to you, like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think too.
Yeah, I don't
Pretty
know.
sure.
I mean, the only thing that was like consistent between the promo and the episode description was the fact that it's Mother's Day. I feel like it was just totally off.
Yeah.
Which, I
Yeah.
mean, you know what? I'll clown. It's fine.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm kind of bummed out though that like Wesley like missing Mother's Day. Like, because it's only like Patrice and Angela are at the whatever
The brunch, yeah.
brunch. Yeah. And I'm just like, ew. But,
Also, like she gets her bracelet stolen. I mean, this woman just can't catch a break.
with bracelets,
Yeah.
apparently, that bring bad luck.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't like that for her. But I also love how Nyla was like, oh, no one takes Mother's Day away from you. Like,
yep,
Mama Bear, Nyla, I love it.
yep.
So then we actually had the season finale episode description before we had 421s. This is called Day in the Hole, which is interesting. And it says Officer John Nolan is forced to spend a week in solitary confinement in a quiet border town with a young local officer who is in need of some training. I mean, honestly, like aside from the Chenford of it all, I'm actually like really intrigued to see that.
I
Because I
Yeah.
feel like John Nolan would
I-
just rip his hair out in solitary confinement.
well, and it's just like, how? Or like, is this something? Obviously, he's like volunteering for this, so like,
Yeah.
but just why?
Yeah.
Like,
It's just, yeah. And then Sergeant Bradford and Officer Chen discover that looks are deceiving and go undercover together in a possible drug trafficking case. We are literally winning at life. We are getting Chenford undercover together. I don't even care if it's, like half the episode. I don't care if they're in the same hotel room or whatever, because we've seen them filming at a motel. I don't care at this point. It's literally just Chenford undercover for me.
yeah.
I saw some people being like, and Tim thought that Nova was thirsty, like wait until she's undercover with him. And I was like, yes.
Yeah. There are just like so many things. Like, because just depending on how 421 shakes out, it's like that's gonna impact how they are with each other. Like, regardless of if there is an actual proposal or it's not a proposal, like whatever. Like, it's like they're gonna be, because I just have this feeling that regardless of whatever happens in 421, like they're not gonna be able to talk about it to each other yet.
Yeah.
Or at least not get it fully.
Like it's gonna be like
Resolved.
awkward
Whatever.
moments between them.
Yeah.
Well, our friend M had like zoomed in on the picture that Eric shared from 421 when they wrapped, and she was like, there's no ring on Ashley's finger, like case solved. And I was like, oh my god, I love this. But also it was when they were out of character, I'm sure, even though they still had the same clothes on. I don't
I know
know.
they did have the same clothes on, yeah.
But they were also like in the lobby of the district. So who knows? I don't know. But also, so like 421 and 422, we're seeing some amazing guest stars come back. So we're getting Smithy again in the season finale. We're getting Elroy back, and Nell comes back. So we're getting Nellroy. You guys, literally, like, I need an update on where they are in their relationship.
For sure.
And also, like, I'm interested on why they're coming back, because like Elroy, John met when he was like doing a crime scene. Like he was like making sure that the crime scene stayed okay. So how does Elroy play into all this? I don't know.
I mean, I'm hoping it's just because like they're together and they're happy and they're visiting or something. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I hope it's not for like a negative reason.
I know. And then Tamara's coming back, which when she watches Chenford go undercover, like I need some quality lines from her, quality lines and content from her.
I just want like an initial reaction. Like if Lucy like tells her and she just kind of like mumbles, oh yeah, and I'm going undercover with Tim.
Mm-hmm.
Then, like face down, like doesn't want to look. And then she's like, you're what? Like that's what I can like totally picture.
Yeah.
Or she just like is smirking the whole time, which.
Oh, yeah. And she's like, I know what's going to happen. Like, I'm not
Can
stupid here.
Can she say Officer Zaddy though again?
Please.
Like actually hear about it? That'd be so great.
Someone had tweeted, they were like, it's a shame that they haven't called Tim Officer Zaddy ever again since like the first episode that he was called that. It was like, yeah, it really is. Yep. We're manifesting it, even though it's already been filmed and is edited.
I don't care.
We've
manifested a lot of shit. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm so here for it.
And then this guest star, I wasn't expecting to come back. And I'm kind of like thrown off on why he is coming back, but Pete Nolan is coming back, so that'll be fun.
I'm
And
so excited for that. I can't even really explain why. Probably because the Halloween episode, that was what he was in, right? Yeah.
yeah,
The Halloween episode was like peak comedy, and it
yeah.
just absolutely killed me.
And I
And
think I
so,
saw like on the
ready for it.
IMDb or something that Chastity is coming back too. So I'm like, how are they playing into all of this? Same with like Nelroy. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm just kind of confused. I don't know. Are they all like in this, day in the hole, like in the solitary confinement together or something? Like, I don't know, but yeah, we'll see.
Mhm.
And then another piece to note is that Alexi Hawley wrote and directed this episode. So you guys, like, we could be getting some top tier Chunfree content in this episode, courtesy of Alexi. So I'm here for it.
Yeah. Totally. And as always, Eric and Rosalind are still doing their podcast episodes. So be sure to check them out. I'm assuming they're still gonna, since like the rookie's like done filming now, so like I'm sure it'll be easier for them to maybe like do them more regularly. I don't know. But
Yeah. I thought that Eric was in Puerto Rico, or he like came back or something. I don't know.
he was at some point last week, I think. I don't know if
Mhm.
he's still there, but yeah, so hopefully. I
Yeah.
don't know, because I always look forward to those. So always,
Oh yeah.
they're so fun.
Yeah, so we'll just dive right into the episode. Like we said, 420 picked up right where 419 left off, and the trucks are off and following their route. So Angela and Nyla are updating the team from the station. They did a deep dive on Trevor and found out that he rented 5 box trucks the previous day. So he essentially made 5 truck bombs. And according to the rental place, the trucks are all decorated with like a different state's picture on them. So the states, because it comes back up, like it's easier for them to note the trucks. So it's Alaska, Florida, Kentucky, Idaho, and Utah are the 5 trucks that they're looking for. And so Simone's like, well, we're gonna have to shut the city down. And Agent Fox is like, what? We can't do that in LA. And Tim's just like, yeah, but it's better to overreact than under. And we love seeing Tim stand like back Simone up. So then Lucy's like, well, what about the GPS trackers that car rental places put into their vehicles? And Nyla's like, yeah, we asked about that, and all the trucks are wired, but data is collected out of state, so we're going to need a federal warrant to access that. But everyone's like, that's no problem. So Gray's like, get bolos out on the trucks, and get units out in the field, and because they're like communicating through like a TV. It was weird. It was almost like a Zoom or something, but it was like on a bigger TV. And so Nyla just turns around like when they hang up, and she's like, everyone with a pulse, get out there. And she's just like on her queen shit right there. And I was like, I love it. Love it. So then like for partnerships, in the beginning of the episode, we had Chenford together, Gray and Garza in the helicopter, and then Simone and John. And these were solid partnerships. I mean, obviously Chenford always is, but seeing Gray and Garza together, that was interesting to see. So we had seen Trevor like watching from the parking garage, and he sees the explosion. And then Gray and Garza obviously see it too, because they're overhead, and they call out over the radio for fire and rescue. And then like to kind of break the tension for a bit, John and Simone are talking about their experience and how it helps them in different ways than it does from like the other cops. And John just keeps reminding her to use that experience to her advantage. And then like that moment is like interrupted quickly, because Chenford corners in the Florida truck. They take him into custody. Like they're taking down these trucks quickly. And so then we find out Smitty ended up getting the Utah truck driver in custody, which I wasn't expecting him to really like play a part in this, but I was like, okay, that's cool. And like Smitty tells Gray, like, oh yeah, I've got another truck, and Gray's like, I take back everything negative I've ever said about you. And like Gray's face was just hilarious, and it was like he was yelling it because of the helicopter, obviously. And Smitty was like, you said negative things about me. And when I tell you I screamed and laughed at this, like, I'm not lying. I didn't watch the episode live, so I was like watching it on Hulu after. And I paused it right before he said anything, and I was like, Smitty's definitely gonna question, like, that he's ever said anything negative about him. And he did, and I was just like, that's one of my new favorite lines. And Gray's just like, yeah, I don't have time for this. Like, I'm just gonna carry on. So then John and Simone are closing in on the Kentucky truck, the final one, because they've already caught the other 4. And they're only a block away from the freeway. So John's like, well, we got to ram him if he doesn't stop. And Simone's like, he is full of explosives. You really want to like ram his truck. And John just reminds her that C4 needs a detonator to go off. So, like they should be okay. But then Simone's like, yeah, but fuel only needs a spark. And John's just kind of sassy, and he's like, well, do you have any better ideas? Because I'm all ears. And they find him like coming down they find him coming down one way as they're coming another way. It was like a 3-way intersection. And they end up hitting his front end, so like both vehicles kind of spin out. And the fire department like rolls up on the scene quickly. Bailey's running up to the shop, with a worried look on her face. And she's like, that was really stupid of you to do. And Simone's like, well, she's judgy for a first responder. John's like, yeah, we're living together. Like, he didn't even say that they were dating. I mean, it was just alluded to, but yeah, he was just like, yeah, I forgot to tell you that we're living together. And Simone's like, cute, you did good. And John's like, oh, trust me, I know. To which I say, how? I'm sorry, but like, how? I mean, I know that it's all fictional, but like, and John Nolan's the main character, so obviously like they're gonna give him the best. But yeah, I'm just like, I mean, at least he knows, I don't know. So then Jennifer comes up next, and Lucy's like, she runs to them almost like a worried girlfriend in a way. I don't know. Her face was like, I mean, Lucy, you look really concerned, and obviously because they're your friends, but I was just like, I don't know. She almost like gave off like worried girlfriend vibes, and I was like, no, your boyfriend is like behind you. You just don't know that yet. And so then like Lucy makes sure that everyone is okay, and Tim radios to Gray, who's like, just get them out of there, and get everyone to a safe place. And Garza, after they catch all 5 trucks, Garza's like, yeah, I'm gonna go visit the CIA. He asks Gray if he wants to be dropped off, and Gray's like, nope, you're taking me with you. So then Trevor like walks off the rooftop in a hurry, leaving his tablet behind. And it looks like it's all smashed, which I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. And so it turns out that Tim sent Lucy back to the district to help because she meets up with Angela and, kind of figures out what she needs to do. And we need more of Angela and Lucy working together, like ASAP. We need that because they are queens. So then Angela's like, well, run the command center. We're running Trevor's picture through VICAP and the federal databases, and the feds want to study the issue first before the picture is released to the public. So in the meantime, they're sending all available officers to meet with their CIs and show them the picture. And Angela tells Lucy that she's supposed to CC the FBI on everything, but she can't give out anything to patrol without Angela say so. So we go over to Garza and Gray. They're meeting up with the CIA agent, Bill August, who is interesting. Like I said, I didn't watch the episode live, so I had seen like other people's tweets come in, and like obviously what Shop Talk had liked and retweeted. So I had seen tweets that someone was shady, and when I was watching the episode, I was like, oh, it's the CIA agent that's shady. Like, he just looks like he is. He's acting like it. And I knew that it wasn't going to be Trevor because, I mean, the guy was a terrorist. So
Mhm.
so I was just like, it's got to be the CIA guy. So he wants to save the specifics until they get into the skiffs, and he's like, well, we can talk in my office where it's more private. And Garza's just like, we think that the terror suspect has ties to the CIA. And August is just like, why? Like, why do you think that? And when the prints are mentioned, he says that there's a million reasons why something gets classified in the agency, and it's kind of a default action, to be honest. Honestly, the way that this guy was answering questions so quickly, I was like, yeah, you are up to something. Um, and then even kind of like reframing the question and like turning it back on them. I was like, okay. But Garza shows him a picture of Trevor, and August is immediately like, no, is that your suspect? Um, and so he even kind of drags Gray about his position, saying, like, I'm sure being a station chief seems like a big deal, and it is in other major cities, but in LA, it's a sign of a senior officer on the margins. And at that point, I was like, dude, you've crossed the line. Like, no one talks like that about Gray. So then August claims, he's just trying to set expectations. And Garz is like, yeah, so that when you're not helpful, like, we won't hold it against you. Garza's like taking none of this guy's BS. So then Gray stops Garza and he's just like, well, let's just, give August the chance to be a team player. And so Gray's like, he asks what August knows about Enervo, and he quickly responds with nothing and asks, what is it? And so Garza is just like, we think that it's an agency black op. So August doesn't like that they went to the CIA and that they're trying to like hang out on the agency. But Garza is just like, well, we're hoping that you can help us. And so August is like, well, I'll look into the fingerprint classification and I'll need a copy of the photo so that I can kick it to DO to see if it sparks anything. So after Gray and Garza leave, a random guy comes into August's office from another door and asks if there's a problem, and August is like, well, get the band warmed up, and that we were just kind of left there. So then we see John, Bailey, and Simone all walking through the hospital lobby. At least that's what it looks like, or like the waiting area. And Simone's dad appears and he's like, why aren't you in a hospital bed? And she's like, because I'm fine. There's no reason for me to be in there. So then Cutty's like, oh, so now you're chumming it up with the LAPD. And Simone just apologizes for him and tells Balin like everything that's going on with them, and what he internalizes. She like overshares at this point, but I was also like, she does kind of need to like say everything, make him feel like he's, I don't know, embarrassed or whatever. So then Bailey's like, well, I have to leave. And she tells John to stop. She needs him to stop almost dying. Which literally same Bailey. Like I had the same thought. And then he's like, well, I'll stop when you stop. And it was a cute flirting moment. This is the kind of flirting that I'm here for, not whatever we've had for the last few weeks. Like, no. So then Agent Fox and Tim show up, and they're like, are you good to come back? And Simone's like, yeah, I am. And her dad is just like, well, you're a trainee, like they shouldn't have you out there. Which I have to say, like, okay, yeah, maybe they shouldn't, but also she's a trainee. How is she going to get like on the job experience if she's not out there? But I mean, like, she doesn't have a gun, she doesn't have like proper protection or anything. So it is kind of like she does need to tread the waters a little bit. So Agent Fox stands up for her, saying, Simone's been vital to the case. And Fox, invites her to go to the office and comb through the tip line records. And so, like as they're walking away, Simone's like, thanks for that. And Agent Fox says that she's been there with her parents, and she also picked up some clothes for Simone and guessed at her sizes. I just have to say that I am here for this friendship. Like, more Agent Casey Fox, please. I love her. I love her like messy bun. I love her demeanor. I just love it. Um, even if the FBI spinoff doesn't happen, can they please bring her back to the Rookie? Because I would love to see it. Because I feel like her and Tim would like get into it a few times, like as far as like little arguments, and it would just be the best. So then, John asks Tim what's next, and he's like, well, I'll go to Gray and ask, or, Gray asks him to reach out to one of his old pals at operations. And he adds that his old pal is Kate Hill, who ran operations for the CIA in northern Iraq when he was there. So we got a little hint to Tim's military backstory, which give me more of it. And now we have Brolin partnered up along with Simone and Casey, like just new partnerships, new and old, which I loved it all. So we go back over to Trevor. He is an electrical technician and he's breaking into a house. He unarms the house, pulls out a gun, and finds family pictures. At first, I did not put this together of who it was. Like, it took me until like the end of the episode.
I had to pause and look at the picture, and I'm like, there's no way that's the lawyer. Like, it didn't, or not the lawyer,
the CIA.
Yeah. So I was like, there's no way, that doesn't look like him.
I mean, I was also watching it like late at night, and I was just like, I don't know who this is. Like, I don't know. I was just like, it's just some family that he's gonna like terrorize next. But he like puts one of the family pictures in his bag. And I was like, all right, that's kind of weird. Then he walks through their bathroom, which like invasion of privacy, takes a brush and puts it into his bag, into a baggie. Like, making sure that he touches it with the tissue and stuff. It was just really creepy. And he like stops to look at himself in the mirror and had no reaction and just like walks away. And it's moments like that just really like gave me the creeps, because I was like, this guy is bad news.
Yeah.
So, but like also, I know we've said this before, and like I know you tweeted it last night. Yuri just played this character so well. Like, I can't not, like, I don't know. I don't know if it was just like a stark contrast to what we've seen him in last, but I was just like, wow, this is good. So then we see Casey and Simone driving together, and Casey notices that Simone is looking at her hand. And, Casey's like, is it starting to sink in? And Simone's like, it's just low blood sugar. Like, I probably need some food. No big deal. And so Casey gives her advice of not pushing it down, because the harder she does, like, the harder it'll come back up. And she tells Simone that she almost died, and no one comes away from that almost unchanged. So Simone's like, I want to get to know you a little bit more. She asks Casey if she has kids, but it turns out that Casey has some cats. And Simone's like, you got to have someone that, is like outside of the shop. And Casey says that there was a girl that she picked up at a bar last week. And honestly, it just keeps getting better. But at this point, I was like, yes, Casey, like, go off, queen. Yes. So then Simone's like, give me all the details. And Casey's like, I don't really remember her name. But, one night stands are kind of my specialty because it keeps me focused on the job. And Simone's like here for this hot gossip. Like, she's like, well, was it good at least? And Casey just laughs, and Simone gets all giddy. And it was just so good. Like, I loved that they kind of broke the barriers between them throughout this episode. Mm-hmm. So then Simone shares that her last boyfriend broke up with her because he found out that sometimes she has girlfriends, and her last girlfriend broke up with her when she joined the FBI. At this point, I was just like, we are getting so much content. Like, my mind is just getting blown, because we were getting all of this backstory for characters that we don't even know, like, if they're getting a spinoff yet. And I'm just like, at this point, I really hope that this spinoff happens, because they're just giving us content, like, from all ends.
Mm-hmm. I was just glad that they had like representation come back, just because it's like we lost that with Jackson, and then obviously I know they didn't want to make Aaron just like a like duplicate,
yeah,
but yeah, it's just nice that they have that kind of representation, especially like, I don't think, unless there's some on other shows that I'm not familiar with, I don't know if there's at least been like a like female bisexual character on network TV. I don't know, not that
don't
I know
think
of
so.
anyway.
I don't
Um,
think so.
I know there's been on Canadian TV
Mhm.
because Degrassi broke those barriers quite a long time ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's pretty cool to just like have that and like,
And it'd be a woman of color. Like,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it
Mhm.
was really good. And not just one, it was two. Like
Yeah.
it's two of them. So yeah, it was
Mhm.
really good.
Yeah.
So then Casey was like, "Oh, your girlfriend, your last girlfriend was smart because the job is a killer to relationships." And Casey like seems like a cynic. And I don't know if that's why I like her. I don't know. She just gives me vibes that I'm like, I love you already, and it's only been 2 episodes. Um, so then Simone's like, well, I know how to balance my work and personal life, so like it's not gonna be a problem. And Casey's like, well, once you clock in, you never really clock out. And it focused on her for like just for that and like kind of lingered on her too. And I don't know, you could almost like see the way that her face changed. And it just made me love her even more. So then we see Brolin roll up to meet with the CIA connection. And, they tell her that they think that their suspect is connected to the agency. And she's like, well, I can't help you. So go talk to a higher up. And Tim's just like, my boss said, like, he's getting the runaround. And so Kate then mentions that her and Tim hooked up once. And I'm just like, at this point, because we've had Simone and Kat, like, both, and Casey, like, both give backstory a little bit. And I was just like, honestly, just give me more of it. Like,
I was
please.
just like, I didn't catch that because like, live tweeting should be considered a sport, you guys, because I am like on my phone. Like I heard it, but like I think I was looking down, so I didn't know like who said it and like to
Yeah.
whose. And I rewatched it like for this thing, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
um
Um, yeah. So then, she kind of mentions that they hooked up once. And like, mind you, they were over in Iraq when they knew each other. So we don't technically know if it was when they were over in Iraq or like after they got back, but either way, they hooked up. Which I mean, honestly, like, okay, I'm here for that. Um, and so then like John asks her what she knows about Enervo, and she quickly responds with nothing and has a terrified look on her face. And she just quickly like starts walking back to her car door. And then Tim's like, well, he stops her and he's like, what does that mean? Like, you know, something. And she just responds in a quieter tone and she's like, you just nuked me. He called her at work apparently, and she says that uh the suspect called her at work, and she would bet money that someone used the e-name on an unsecured cell phone where it was captured by the NSA keyword program that triggered an immediate tactical response. So the CIA, like the guy who came into August's office before, rolls up with like a whole team from both sides of like the underpass. And Tim like reaches for his gun, and the CIA is like, yeah, that's not a good idea. So Colin says that he's Kate's ride to work, and we all know that what he's alluding to, like that's not a good thing. So Colin's like, you're only making it worse by protecting her. And so then John ends up slipping his mobile into her pocket because they end up taking her away.
I
So
literally had to
then
pause that scene though. Can I just say I had to pause that scene, figure out I couldn't figure out whose arm it was, and I was
same.
like, so then I like watched it back and I did the thing where like I can do it on my TV where I like slow-mo it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, she's leaning closer to Nolan, so it has to be Nolan. Swear to God, that looked like Tim's arm because Eric was slightly tanner than Nathan. So I was
That
like,
that is what I thought
wow.
too. And then when I found out that it was Sean, I was like, that just makes no sense. But then I was like, but it was on her left side, so that would be John. But then the arm, like you said, I was like, but that's Tim. Like, yeah.
No, it looks like Eric's arm. I don't
I
even know.
Again, I was watching this at like 1 a.m. after like having a long day, and I was just like, I don't know if it's just my eyes deceiving me or what. And I was just like, you know what? I better just call it a night. Like, because I'm
No, because I
losing it
literally had
here.
to be like, I was like waiting. I was like, okay, if it's not Tim, it has to be John. But what, like, I was like, what did he even put in her pocket anyway? I was like,
Yeah.
what is this? And then he finally said it, and I was like, whew, okay, I got it
Yeah.
now. I'm all caught up.
Yeah. So
Anyway,
then,
continue.
yeah. So it was just, I was like, am I going nuts? Like, am I going crazy here? So then, you know, we cut back over to Garza and he calls someone named Elena. And, you know, just gives her 6 things to do. So he's like, you know, call the senator, tell her that the postman walked the dog, notify the state's attorney's office, and tell him, you know, Dr. Research needs to be there. Track and activate a cell for the LAPD officer, John Nolan. He needs an AWACS above 20,000 feet, and tell them that Senator Smith authorized it. Move Polaris 11 to longitude 34.052 degrees north and 118.24 degrees west, and mobilize HRT for a hostage rescue. The entire time that Garza is like rattling all of this off, Gray's driving, obviously, and he's just kind of looking back and forth, like intrigued, but also like a little worried and just kind of like, what are you up to here? So once Garza is off the phone and says, love you to Elena, Gray just looks at him puzzled still. And he's like, you just said to your assistant, love you. And Garza's like, all of that cool stuff that I just said, and you're worried about the I love you part. And I mean, the sass between these two, like the entire episode was just so good. And Gray's like, or Garza's like, well, my assistant happens to be my niece. So, you know, there's nepotism in the LAPD, right? Like, you know, it can happen in the FBI. So like we see, you know, the CIA is driving again and they come up on Berlin, and a whole team of backup. So Tim's like, get out of the car because you're going to lose the shooting war 10 times out of 10. And the CIA guy, you know, guys don't fail to remind Tim that they're interfering with a national security operation. That's like their go-to, you know, like comeback. And Nolan's like, well, come down to the station and tell us about it. And, you know, none of the CIA guys talk. And so Nolan's like, yeah, I thought that, like, you know, so give us Kate back. So Kate gets all up in Tim's face and she's like, you know, you really screwed me. And Tim just calmly says, like, that wasn't my intention, but you can yell at me all the way back to the station. This entire scene.
Tweet. Oh my god. No, I saw someone tweet. It might have been Maddie. Maddie, I hope you don't mind me mentioning this, but I think she tweeted and she was like, in more ways than one. And I was like, Maddie, that's so funny.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Dying laughing. I was like, oh my god.
Well, I think I texted you.
I saw that tweet and I was so confused though, because I was like, because like I said, I wasn't looking up when the original, like, you know, we hooked up line or whatever was said. So I was just like, wait, is the thing? Like, what?
Well, I think I texted you like when I was watching this scene. And I was just like, you know, Tim Bradford could like yell at me to do anything and I would just like be okay with it. Like, and then him just like calmly saying, like, well, that wasn't my intention. Like, oh my gosh. Tim Bradford just has many layers to him. We just love him for it.
Yep.
So then Casey and Simone are walking through the FBI office and, you know, Simone's like waving and introducing herself and she's getting no reaction. And she's just like, wow, this is like, you know, these are kind of cold people. And Casey's like, well, you know, they're busy. So Simone sits down in front of a computer and Casey's like, we need any tips relating to a man with a Russian accent. And, you know, she adds like, there's no telling how long he's been planning to do this. So they have to go back to at least a year. So Simone just pulls up the results and Casey like shares her organization system. And she's like, you know, I assign a system of letters and numbers to separate the tips based on details of the call. And then she applies a color scale rating each tip as it's corroborated or challenged by other tips of similar reliability. So Casey's got a whole system and Simone's just like in shock over it. And she's like, you know, that's how your brain works and what everyone else here is doing, like running searches on various databases. And And, Casey's like, what, they didn't teach you that in Quantico? And Simone's like, well, it's different when you see it on its actual feet. That I agree with. Like a lot of things that they teach you, whether it's job orientation, school, anything like that, it's so much different than when you're actually doing it. So then Simone kind of challenges Casey and, saying that her system is impressive and useful, but it might not be the best for her skills. And she's more of a people person. I don't know why, but I kind of felt like Simone was being a little cocky in some parts. And I was like, I mean, you're just a trainee, but I can see where she's coming from that. Like, we all do learn different. Yeah.
Because like John was kind of, a little bit like that at times. Like very much just like, wait, but I have this other idea, or wait, but just like putting like her, like Simone's putting her 2 cents in at the end of everything, kind of
right.
like John would do with like Talia or like Nyla in season 2 anyway.
Yeah. So then Casey reminds her that she was a people person and now she's, an FBI agent, and that's how they solve cases. So Simone's like, well, that doesn't really make any sense because they should encourage us to use our innate interests and abilities instead of trying to force everybody into the same mold. So then Casey just, to me, she looked a little like uncomfortable, but yet intrigued. And she was like, well, the Bureau doesn't really think like that. So, and Simone's like, if I could change my life at this age, the Bureau could make some changes too. Which I love that about Simone. Like she's wanting to make changes wherever she goes. So I feel like that's an awesome quality in her. So then Casey, just says that Simone sounds like Garza, and Simone's like, really? Spill the tea. Like, he wants to change things up. And Casey's like, I shouldn't have said anything. Like she starts backtracking, and Simone's like, no, you got to spill it now. So Casey shares that, he's talking about trying to launch a new unit, one that spends more time out in the streets and less in the office, which I'm assuming would be the spinoff, like the actual spinoff.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, probably I would assume.
But then, yeah, if it's like them spending more time out in the streets, isn't that just going to be like the Rookie 2.0? I mean, that's kind of the point of a spinoff, but
I mean, maybe they'll start out like, because like Simone has to like finish her training,
Yeah.
So maybe it'll kind of be like in a similar format of the Rookie, where like she has to still be trained like on everything, and then maybe she'll, want to be like keep bugging everyone, kind of like Nolan did, Well, I think they're so similar in that way. Like they want to do things, and they're just like so ready to go, even though everyone else is telling them like, you need to like pump the brakes for a sec.
Yeah. Well, and like the FBI is obviously going to take like way more intense cases than, the LAPD. So, so then, Simone's like, well, I volunteer to join, like sign me up. And Casey's just like, let's focus back at the task at hand right now. So Simone's like, I actually have to use the restroom. So she like starts to look for the bathroom, but then like she ends up asking if there's a lost and found. And then we end up seeing her like entering Zeke's holding cell. And she asks him, how he's doing, and if he's talked to the lawyer that her dad arranged for him. And she's like, she gives him some headphones because she knows that they will help him with the sensory issues that he has. And like it's like an old like Walkman or something. And so then he says that like he heard the agents talking about the explosion with the detonators that he made, and he asks like how many people were killed. So she shares 17, but she adds that there's twice the amount of people in the hospital, and just dealing with like injuries. So Zeke's feeling horrible, like I mean, as anyone would. And Simone reminds him that even incarcerated, he can still do some good. So he's got a big debt on him now, like one that he'll never be able to pay back. But he can spend the rest of his life trying. So Zeke's like, have you caught the suspect yet? And Simone's like, no, but I need your help to catch him. So Zeke's like, well, I already told you everything that I know. And Simone's like, no, you told me what you thought was important. Like, let me be the judge of that. So she has him close his eyes, and she wants him to think about the time that he spent with Trevor, and think about that anything that stands out. So, Zeke says that Trevor like ate the same way that his old coach used to, or a coach that both of them knew. And he was eating like some energy bar, which we end up finding out that it's a Soviet era candy bar made with cow's blood. Ew. And he said that it smelled bad, but it had a Russian label on it. So, she's like, Zeke, can you draw me a picture of it? And like they're still talking, but then Casey sends a text, and she, because she thinks that Simone went to the bathroom. So she's like, did you fall in? Like, that's all that her text said. And I was like, as if I didn't need any more reasons to love this woman. Like, I love her. So then, like, we don't really see Simone do anything from there. She's just like, oh man, I gotta get back. Well, then she ends up like calling John, and she's like, hey, are you like up for, some adventure or whatever? And so then, he's like, yeah, I'll meet you, by the aquarium. And so we see Trevor like driving down the alley, and, he makes everyone leave, tells everyone that things are about to get hot. And he then calls in a tip saying that he saw the bomber from the news, and they parked a red car off of an alley on 7th, and just like walked away. He tells them to hurry, and then drops his phone in the dumpster. And at least for me, this is where like Hulu cut me the commercial. And I was like, okay, this is cool. Like, we're just gonna set off another bomb here. Like, what? This is nuts.
Yeah. Well, because like I just can't believe they actually had I want to say by powers of deduction, I think it was the Alaska truck that ended up like going off in the very beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
Like like the explosives went off on the like 110, I think.
We only ever saw like 2 actual trucks get caught, because we just heard that 2 others got caught, right?
Jennifer caught Florida. The helicopter caught Idaho. Smitty had Utah, right? And then Simone and John had Kentucky. Is that 4?
Did we see 4? But did we see all 4 being caught? Like, I thought that we just heard 2 of the 4. Like someone
we saw
saying
Kentucky, we saw Florida. We very, very, very quickly saw Idaho and Utah. Okay. I literally had to pause every single freaking time a truck went by. I was like, how do they know what states these are? I literally just see the like green bar or whatever across the logo of the truck. And I was like, what state is it? So I literally had to push the thing, do slow-mo so I could see greetings from whatever state it was. Because I'm like, I just want to know these things. I just like to see things to like confirm what the heck they're doing. So that's why I'm pretty sure it was Alaska that unfortunately like went off.
Okay.
And like, that's just like sad, because like
it is.
I would assume the truck driver like was one of the people that was deceased because of that. And it's like crazy to me. Like, just he got so many innocent people involved. It's just nuts. And then he like just taunts them with this like tip, and just like like tries to make it even more complicated. Like, craziness. Crazy. This next scene though, when they come back from the commercial, oh my gosh, I was just like, the music. They kind of did, what did we call it before? It was like the heartbeat sound, except not really, because it's not from John's point of view.
It's almost like
it got louder as it.
Is it almost like music from like a horror movie? Like when someone's like opening the door and you're like, don't open that.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. That's what it kind of reminded me of.
Yeah, because like I was literally like, I was not moving, I was not tweeting. I was not doing anything during that scene because I was just like, oh gosh, what if the thing explodes? Because
Yeah.
like Angela and Nyla are I mean they're back far enough, but still they're just like behind the like another truck or something. Um and like the poor person in the bomb squad or like suit thing is like checking the car. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like crazy. Because I guess they had it was like a robot type like machine thing that was called
Yeah.
Becky that like had swept the car from the outside, but then the actual person had to go up and like drop the little, I don't know, like not steady cam, like a like long arm uh camera
Yeah.
to like search it inside. Um but thankfully the car was clear. There's no explosives. And so it's like Casey and Simone and Angela and Nyla like all kind of gather together. I kind of feel bad for Simone that like because she was just like chatting, which again is also like John, who likes to talk just about things
Yeah.
and like how things are going. And
They're
Casey's
like best friends. I love it.
yeah. But Casey's like, no, like you can't like just tell them that that we're working the tip line because the FBI doesn't share intel with local law enforcement. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but and
Uh-huh.
so I was kind of glad that like Simone kind of fired back and was like, I didn't tell him like anything, like super, like high tech or anything, like just telling him like what's going on. Um, and Nyla kind of interrupts them because she received the, I guess, recording of like the transcript of the 911 call, which Trevor had made earlier. And Angela's like, oh, okay, so he wanted us to find the car. And Casey's kind of questioning, like, okay, that would make sense if he rigged the car to blow them up, but then, like, why call it in if he wasn't going to do that? The like a technician calls them over and said that their suspect left something for them, and it was the hairbrush that Jennifer had mentioned earlier that was in the plastic bag. So they put a rush on the DNA like over to the lab. And so it cuts over. Kate is back at the station being interrogated by Matt and Tim, which I thought was like an interesting pair.
Yeah.
Which was cool because like I don't know, I kind of wanted like a scene with like Casey and Nyla. I mean, I guess we kind of got it like in that last scene there, but just like more like a duo.
Right.
Because like Tim and Matt are kind of like um similar in like how they interrogate people
Yeah.
and like I feel like Casey and Nyla would be because they're both just kind of like sassy too.
Hmm.
I feel like that would have been a fun duo to see more of. But anyway, sorry, digressing again. So Kate's like not talking about anything right now, and Garza's like, okay, well, let me put it to you this way: the CIA is not going to take you back, so you have a choice to make, either the right one or the wrong one. And Kate looks at him and is like, your friend sucks. And he kind of gives her a look like, yeah, I know, but here we are.
Yeah.
Because if she knows something, Garza could arrest her for being an accessory to terrorism after the fact. Tim tries to sympathize since, like, they have this personal connection, this history, whatever you want to call it. Saying how like she knows or he knows that she joined the agency to protect the country. So now's the time to step up and actually do that. So this is when Kate reveals that Enervo is an answer to how like, okay, sorry, let me rephrase this. It's an answer. The question is, how can the CIA destabilize a foreign city without firing a single shot? So it was a black ops, like Jennifer had mentioned earlier. Apparently, I literally have no idea what any of this means, to be honest. I was just like typing as they were speaking. where foreign assets were trained to create chaos in their home countries. So the agency can essentially like not have any of the blame put on them. So I'm assuming it's like people that are like specially trained to do these things.
Yeah.
But Kate doesn't know who runs the program. Rumor has it that it was never officially sanctioned. So probably didn't have to go through any, like jump through hoops to get approved or whatever. But she does know who Trevor actually is. And his name is Ilya Sokurov. And he was an asset that was recruited for Enervo. The Russians captured him in 2018, accused him of being a spy, and sent him to a penal colony. But he apparently escaped from the colony and is now using what they taught him against them. So now we know, like, his alias is now, broken. Like, this is who he really is. Like, this is what he actually has done and is doing.
Yeah.
So they really got to get this like DNA from the brush, so they can actually figure out if it matches or not. So Simone is at the lab doing that. I say bugging in an affectionate way because I just love Simone's character, so I will never say anything bad about her. But so she's kind of, bugging the lab tech, asking for an update. There's none right now. And she just like kind of keeps like kind of looking over his shoulder in a way. But I guess it was like a officer or like corrections person said someone from holding asked me to give this to you, and Zeke came through with the drawing of the energy bar. And Simone is frustrated that she can't utilize the resources like there within the lab because the tech's like, well, yeah, we could ask around, but it's going to take a couple of days to like track this thing down. And she's like, I don't have a couple days. But she decides to call her dad, who knows some Russian jazz players from his time in the park playing chess with them. And I'm like, this is why the spinoff has to get picked up, because I just want to know more about like Cutty and Simone and just everyone. Like, there's just so many like really unique things. Like, shout out to the writers for like putting so much like time into this, because I'm like, there's so much to unpack just from that single thing. Like, okay, we got
so much to unpack from this entire episode. Like, we had a lot of backstory.
True, for sure. But yeah, and so she tracks down her dad. He is at the community center with James and Wesley. Yay that we get a like group scene, even though it's kind of short. Like, they had like a couple promo photos from it, and I was like kind of hoping it would be
longer,
at least like like it was like 3.5-ish minutes or so. I was kind of hoping for like a full 5 minutes. That's okay.
But we even got more backstory with that from Simone. True. So I was like, hey, I'll take it.
Yeah, that's true. Because James and Simone know each other, actually. She was a few years ahead of him in school, but Simone was James's first crush, apparently. She's introduced to Wesley, and then she asks her dad for a translation of the energy bar like label. I'm going to butcher this, I'm sure. I think he said it was Krobeta.
I think so.
I totally said that in the wrong accent. I can't do accents. I will not be doing accents. Because it was like spelled wrong. Like, it was like slightly off. So he's like, he corrected the spelling on the paper. And like Jennifer had said, it's the Soviet blood candy. And Simone asked like where she can buy it. And her dad said that there is a store by the aquarium, but he doesn't want her going alone. So she calls for backup. And when Simone originally tried to call her dad from the lab, he didn't pick up his phone right away. Yeah. And so when she calls John and he picks up right away after the first ring, she's like, see how he answers his phone when I call? I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, these two just crack me up so much.
I also love how like even though she's in like her 40s, like pushing, like late 40s or whatever, like her dad is still like, no, I don't want you going out there. Like he's just so protective of her. I love it.
Yeah. And I just love, I think it's just because like I said, in previous episodes, I've seen Niecy Nash do like other like cop like comedy drama shows, like where she's guest starred and like done things. So I'm just kind of used to her just like really just easily like kind of just delivering these lines. But she's like, have you ever had a pierogi? And he's like, no, I haven't had the time to. And so she's like, do you want to meet me at this Russian deli near the aquarium? It's a long shot, but the good news is that John can buy her dinner. Like it just keeps getting better, you guys. It's so funny. I absolutely love their dynamic, and like just Simone's confidence is great.
I love how she was kind of flirting with him, but she was like, I know that like you're good with Bailey, like I don't know, it was so good. I loved it.
Right. Yeah. And so like John's on his way. Simone's already there, like she's like parked in her car. She sees Ilya walking towards her car, like he's coming up, so like she sees him in her rearview mirror, I'm assuming.
Like, he's like walking directly to her car. It's not like he's just like walking right by it. It looks like he's coming directly for her.
Yeah, it was so weird. I was like, oh gosh. And so she sees him and she's worried that she'll lose him if she like waits. So she's like on the phone with John still, tells him that she is gonna go after him. And John's like, wait, but you don't have a weapon and you're only a trainee. And she's like, essentially like, yeah, I don't care. I'm gonna go. Bye. Like, and so John's still trying to get there. I literally though could not even take her seriously. When she comes up to Sokurov, right? And she's like, sorry, my boyfriend, okay, that's a lie, but this cute guy named John that I was seeing like told me to meet him at the aquarium, but I got turned around and I dropped my phone, so now my phone is in German. And I'm like, I always go back to this. I'm not saying, I don't want anyone to be like, I do not hate Nolan or Nathan. I'm just like, Simone, how have you not commented on Tim or Wesley or anyone else? Like, why is it always just John? Like, why?
She like only works with John. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I know, but like you interacted with Wesley and he was in the turtle.
She could have said James, like literally
James.
anyone.
Or just like anything, especially since they had like, that like brief history.
Yeah.
That was mentioned. I was like, okay. And no, like, no, yeah. I mean, she did say that he, she, James was like so sad when, she, graduated and moved away or whatever. And so she's a heartbreaker. But still, I was like, not the same, kind of,
Honestly, I wouldn't have been able to keep a straight face saying all of that to him. I would have been like, I'm sorry, but I can't do this. I know who you are.
So funny. Yeah, but and so there's like no reaction. Like Ilya has this like straight face the whole entire time, or like stone face rather. I will not do it the justice that Niecy did it, but she's like, hell, you're looking at me like I don't speak English. Like, because he didn't say one word, like barely blinked, I don't even think.
Yeah.
And just like his one word delivery of like move was like so creepy. And brilliantly done. He does end up like kind of tackling Simone, like throwing her to the ground, like kicking and hitting her, and like she, like she's down for the count. Like he ends up running away. I felt so bad for her. I was like, oh my gosh, like what the heck? Because like, John had said, like she didn't have a weapon, like he got the jump on her, like that sucks.
Well, and she's still a trainee, so she wasn't probably like expecting it or trained like totally for it.
Probably not. So we see John arrives, helps her up, and she hops in the shop with him to try and find Sokurov. Casey calls and is like, where the hell are you? And Simone kind of reveals all the like fibs that she told to get, info from Zeke, and then find the suspect even though she lost him. And so it cuts away from that for a minute. We're coming back to Bill August, which PS, even though no one probably cares but me, I don't care. You guys know this by now that I put in TV facts that I know. Well, because like Adrian Pastar is the second like actor from The Lion Game to make an appearance on The Rookie this season, because Ali Gonino was on
No, I
technically
just
last
I
year.
just love how you worded it.
So that was just fun. Like, I don't know. And he played a lawyer, which is why I said lawyer earlier, in The Lion Game. But he was like really creepy and like a bad like villainous character in that show too. And so I'm like used to him like being a bad character. So he like plays it really well in The Rookie too. So he's like on the phone with Colin, who asks like what Bill wants them to do about Ilya, and he's like, get there first and put him down, because apparently, if they make a mess, like messy, he can deal with, but if the cops get to him first, then they're all going to prison. Which those were like some choice last words that he had before he ended the call, because lo and behold, he's intercepted by Gray and Garza, who reveal that they found a hairbrush in the red car, and the DNA came back to to August. So they ask what his relationship is to Sokurov, and Garza thinks that he's like the real target, because why else would like DNA evidence be planted that points back to him? And obviously, Ilya blames Bill for something and like wants to hang all of this on him, like as some sort of revenge. They don't know exactly what like that is yet, but they do know that this means that Bill lied to them earlier, because he knew exactly who Sokurov was, because he used to work for him. And Gray's like, you ran a Nervo as an unsanctioned operation, and that's why you were so desperate to hide it from everyone. So they take him into custody. I loved Gray's line of, you're missing dinner. Like, he didn't care. Like, he didn't have any time for this. Like, he was just like, this guy's going down. We cut back to Sokurov still running. He's still running. I just thought it was like the car is chasing. You can see the sirens, and he's still going. Like, he's still bolting to the aquarium. And Nolan and Clark are chasing him. Colin's still like trailing behind, so he's got so many people after him right now. Simone is handgun qualified, so John gives her his backup piece. This just like reminded me of the days when John was like not even comfortable with like carrying a backup piece. Like, I remember Lucy was like, oh, he doesn't have one. Like, okay, now he does, and it comes in handy. And then again, I just love John and Simone's dynamic, and just like Nathan and Niecy like did this scene like
so
wonderfully.
good.
It was so funny, because John's just like, I feel like these fish have something against me. Like, they know something they're not telling me. And she's like, it's not the fish I'm worried about. Like, same, Simone, same. Like, I'm worried about your suspect more than anything.
And like I said about Agent Fox, like, even if the Rookie spinoff doesn't happen, which knock on wood, I hope that it does, but like, even if it doesn't, can we please get Simone back, like, on the Rookie, even just for like a small episode arc? Like, I just want to see her again. And same with like Agent Fox and Garza. Like, Garza and Gray's dynamic was good. I mean,
and like Simone's dad is so good too, and it's like their dynamic is nice, because like we haven't had,
oh my gosh, her dad could like help out with James and like in the community center.
because we haven't had, I mean, I know not like every interaction between Simone and Cuddy has been like positive, but like we've definitely had a lot more like negative like
Right.
father son interactions over the years.
Well, and like good things kind of came out of her interactions with her dad. Like
Yeah,
good lines, and like we saw more like development from her come
yeah.
out of those scenes.
Hmm. Like I felt like they really like listened to each other,
Yeah.
and like I don't know, maybe it's just because like they're like not new actors, but like new to the rookie fandom.
Right.
So, like, wow, that sounds bad. Not that it's uninteresting to watch the current actors do their thing. That's not, because I was going to be like, oh, it's interesting to watch them work. It's interesting
Yeah.
to watch everyone work, but just like, it's new. So it's
Yeah.
like, I'm just intrigued, I guess is a better word. This is what happens. It's too late and I'm talking too much. It's fine.
Love it.
Anyway, so uh we see like very very briefly the camera cuts over like Colin's showing up, right? But Nolan and Simone find Sokurov standing in front of the like fish tanks, and he needs them to hear his story, because if they end up, if he ends up being killed, like he wants to be able to like have it be told before
Mhm.
that happens. So they place the cuffs on him, but they do let him talk. I thought that Yuri did a fantastic job of like playing the vulnerability in this scene
Yes.
too, especially the like he's not a man, he's a monster. He was saying
Yeah.
this about Bill August, who promised that he would take care of Sokorov's family, like his wife and his daughters, if anything happened to him. But when he was arrested, August walked away, shut down the like Enervo operation, and his family was killed because of it. So it was like, I don't know, like you could like feel the pain, but it's like obviously you like didn't want to feel bad
Mhm.
for Ilya, because like Simone said, it would like is a terrible thing that happened, but like it doesn't make what he did right, because he hurt a lot of
Right.
people. And a lot of people are now like dead because of him.
Mhm.
He said that what he was doing was necessary. Um, their conversations interrupted by noise, so they like have to move, because Colin and his crew, like they're like coming outside, like everyone begins shooting, like gunfire is exchanged, until the backup, officers show up. We have Chenford, we got Garza, Gray, and Casey, like everyone's there. Um, Tim yelling is good. That's a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always appreciated.
Uh-huh. It is. Oh my gosh, John was such a mood though when he was
Yeah.
like after everyone is taken away and Simone's just like breathless and she's like, oh man, does this mean I have to exercise more? And he's like, what do you say we get drunk first? Like, let's talk about being, on the like older side of things another time. Let's
Yeah.
just get drinks first.
Whole mood. Love
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So I'm assuming drinks were on John, like once again. I think I tweeted that as well.
Yeah.
Just because if he offers, I'm like, sure. Um, and so the next day, Garza is giving Simone a talking to, calling her the worst new agent trainee in the Bureau's history because she doesn't follow protocol. She's stubborn, she's unconventional. But she's like, but I did help catch a terrorist, a rogue CIA agent, and his hit squad. So it kind of balances out, right? And he just kind of looks at her and he's just like, for now, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but not forever. Um, I like that Simone was still like, like respectful. It was like, it was an honor to work for you. Um, she kind of slips it in about the new unit, if she can work with him again, like in that capacity. And when he kind of like side eyes Casey, Simone's like, you can't really blame her because I'm hard to resist. Um, so I thought that was like fun. Like, I don't know. I'm just glad they like got past the not animosity.
Like they
But
broke the ice.
yeah,
Yeah.
they did. So that was good. So she kind of bids both of them goodbye, walks out. Cuddy's waiting for her to give her a ride to the airport. I thought it was so funny that John was waiting outside by his truck to do the exact same thing.
Oh my god, it reminded me of like an 80s rom-com.
It kind of did too, but then I was like, since like Cuddy was there doing the same thing, I'm like, oh god, John is such a dad. You know, like it's such like a dad move.
Oh my god, yeah.
But I'm like, oh no, that's weird because they're, and I was like, no, okay, I just need to stop thinking about any dynamic other than Simone and John.
Yeah, no.
It was
No.
so weird. I was just like, no. But I mean, it was nice, you know, that like, they Cuddy and John got to shake hands again. And they, John got to say goodbye to Simone. Oh, you wanted to get one last look before I go, though. That line can go, is what I say.
Honestly, it's better than some of the other ones that we've gotten.
That's
I mean,
true. I know, yeah.
I'll
no
take that one
offense to-
over like the undergarments.
That's true, yeah. But I was just like, why? Why? And Simone's kind of worried about surviving the rest of her training at Quantico, and John's like, I think you mean if Quantico can survive you, because she's a force of nature, like not one to be messed with. And apparently words of affirmation are Simone's love language, so that's a good fact. I could have done without the Sia around handsome, at least the handsome part. I don't, it's just awkward because like, she knows, I guess she's just like, she's a flirty personality.
Yeah, that's
I'm
what
just
it is.
like, ma'am, did you completely just disregard Tim or Wesley or James or anyone else?
Literally anyone.
Like,
I mean, what if she said that to like Smitty? I would honestly, like, I would be done for. I would be done for if she said that to Smitty.
Oh my god, just
Smitty
like
would probably
no,
just be like, yeah, okay.
nothing, just I mean like crickets, hello, like
Yeah.
oh, it was just, I don't know, I mean it was fun, like I liked it, it's fine. I was just like, I guess they had to bring it full circle so I can understand it, but I'm just like,
Well, and they wanted to like
like,
show the dynamic between
thumbs
like the
up.
two main characters. Like
Yeah.
she gets the spinoff, but I was just like, but we don't need like every line like that to be between them. I don't
Yeah, it's
know.
just like everything. I don't know. Yeah. But
But
yeah,
I mean,
it
it's
could've just been
also
Sia around,
John
but
Nolan is
whatever.
like the main character, so
It's fine. And just, and John like plays right into it, being a good sport that he is. So I mean it's fine, like I said, it's totally fine. Don't, I'm not like saying, oh my god, I hate it, like whatever. But just like it was just a lot. Like it just kept being
yeah.
kept
I
happening.
do
I was
like
okay.
I do like that it was innocent, right? It wasn't like he was questioning like him and Bailey. Like it was
for
very
sure.
innocent and playful and like just friendly. Like it was just friendly banter. So
Yeah.
I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
But
It was just, it was making me laugh, which is good. It's entertaining.
yeah.
So bravo to
Oh, and just like him waiting outside of his truck, like leaning against it. It was like, is this an 80s rom-com that we're in now? Like, oh my God.
movie-esque.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was the end of the episode.
Yeah. It was, what part did you like better? 1 or 2?
Oh. Well. See, here's the thing though, is like 2 was slightly more entertaining, but like 1, like I'm still stuck on that scene from 1 where well, we knew him as Trevor at the time anyway. Like had the guy's husband in the cage and then just like said absolutely nothing and walked up and looked at the traffic patterns on the
Yeah.
maps. Yeah. That scene like creeped me the fuck out. Like it was so insane.
Yeah.
So I really, like I said, I hesitate to say enjoyed that scene, but it was just very well done and like
Yeah.
yeah, so like I don't know. So like I feel like, and then we had like the a few more Chenford scenes in one. But honestly, I mean, like it felt like a full like 2-hour movie. So I'm sure
Yeah.
if someone didn't get a chance to watch them
Right.
live and just watch them back to back, it would be like a full movie and be
Yeah.
really really cool. But it worked separately too. So
Yeah.
honestly, they both my favorites for different reasons.
I liked part 2, but I think I liked part 1 a little bit better. I don't know if it was just because we knew the 421 promo was coming. We had the episode description. So at this point I was just like, okay, let's just fast forward through this episode because I just want to like get to the next 2, which isn't fair to Simone and like all of the other characters.
Yeah.
But I was just kind of like, I don't know. It didn't seem like it was dragging on because it wasn't, but it was just like, okay, I feel like we just really need to like wrap this up now. But maybe it's like I said, maybe it's because we have the episode descriptions and the promo photos and the promo for the next episode that I'm just like, I want that like right now. I don't know.
Yeah. I literally, now that you said that though, I was kind of like thinking, I think it was just because like that behind the scenes photo that we had posted on Twitter, like featuring Yuri, like,
Yeah.
well, at least the back of him anyway. I literally thought for whatever reason that like his character was going to end up getting like shot by Colin.
He did get shot.
He did?
Yeah, he was shot.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind then.
He was shot. He like kind of when
he like when he like faltered.
Yeah. But like he never, it was obviously not like close to his spine or something to where it didn't affect like him walking.
I thought he did. I thought he like, I don't know, like I thought it would just like, I thought like it like went like almost got him or something, like like went right past him or something.
Yeah.
All the night scenes, guys, I literally can't I can't see anything when I'm driving at night. I don't know how I'm supposed to watch TV when it's like dark. I can't. I see absolutely nothing. It's bad. But yeah, it was good. Yeah, I definitely hope, I hope the series gets picked up, or the spinoff. I hope like everyone stays like in like stays on, or like stays in their original roles. Like I don't want them, because like sometimes they'll like change character names or something, but they've done technically 2 episodes now, so it's like you kind of know who the characters are already. So I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I know they've put like so much backstory and like work into them, but I hope that it doesn't change. Yeah, so we had some listener thoughts. Mindy had said we got a little bit of Wesley. That was fun. She said it was a good episode, but not as good as last week. I enjoyed Gray and Smitty, and then Gray and Garza together. And she also liked the little insight into Tim's background with Kate. She also said that the bad guy's story was so tragic. It was like I felt so bad for him at the end.
Yeah. Bonnie said this one was better than part 1 in her opinion. I prefer Simone to Nolan by far. Smitty actually doing something was gold. Yeah. Bravo to Smitty. Bonnie said, as for next week, there are a zillion other ways they could have achieved the same objective without going there. Oh, in terms of like the Tim thing, I'm assuming, or Tim and Ashley.
Yeah.
Rather. It's blatantly obvious what's going to happen. She's asking, do we like how the writers are handling all of this? She finds herself flipping between liking the writing and not liking the writing and back and forth. And then she said, and what is with Bailey being at every accident scene? She's not a medic. Like, that's not her primary function. So she doesn't really understand that. I guess
But-
maybe just because it's like they gotta utilize Jenna Dewan as a main
Yeah.
person. I don't know though.
Well, and it was a car accident, so like fire comes anyway.
Usually.
But
Well-
yeah, I mean,
From our many years of watching Chicago Fire.
well, yeah, just like in real life too. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I at least just when I see an ambulance coming first, I'm like, okay, so fire truck is like right behind them, or like vice versa. But again, that's from watching so many first responder shows and just knowing that like whenever a fire truck's around, like an ambulance is usually behind them.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I feel like, yeah, she has been in a lot, like, but like you said, it's probably just because they need to utilize her. But even then, I feel like she could have just been like a recurring, not like a regular. I don't know. I feel like when they first brought her on, I was like, so are they going to attempt to do like a LAPD, like fire spinoff? But then I was like, but there's already so many other like fire first responder shows, and there's already an LA one with 911. So I was like, no, they're not gonna do that.
Well,
But
and then
then I was like,
ABC has the
maybe.
what's it, Station 19 or something? Is
Yeah.
that the one you have? Yeah.
Yeah. But then I was like, maybe not. And then so I'm kind of glad that if they do a spinoff, it's the FBI. But
mhm.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So we like how the writers are handling all of the things?
Yeah, I
Better?
mean, the storylines are interesting.
Yeah. I like it. Like I said, like I'm not really, I mean, I have my favorite things but I'm like not a person that like, I don't know, like I mean, I'll despise like the villainous characters for like 90% of them, but then I can appreciate like, you know, how brilliantly they're acted by, you know, the people that portray them. And I'm kind of the same way with like ships too. Like I'm not like a I don't know if like Bonnie, I don't know if you mean this in like terms of like the like what's upcoming or what's like what has already occurred. Like I like what's
Yeah.
already occurred. I think they've done a fine job with that. As far as like upcoming though, I don't know like because I don't mind Tim and Ashley.
Right.
I don't like I don't I mean, am I like, oh my gosh, like yes, like I'm here for it? Like no, but like I don't
Yeah.
mind them. Like I don't I mean
Yeah. Like you
I
know
don't
Chenford's happening at some point.
yeah.
Yeah. No, that's kind of how I am too.
And so I'm just kind of like because I don't know, I just saw like so many people were very much like like X over Tim's name kind of
Yeah.
thing. And I was like, wait, what? I was like, no. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just not that like extreme of a person.
Yeah.
It's like I don't mind like I'm here for angst. Maybe it's because I like angst and
Right.
I like I enjoy like reading things or watching things that have that kind of like push and pull because it makes the
Yeah.
end like more rewarding, I think. So I'm hoping that's the case like moving forward that it will make the finale, you know, that much more
Satisfying.
yeah, that's the
Yeah.
word. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess with like ships and even storylines, like you said, and characters, like I'm not, unless they give me a reason to like absolutely hate them, like they
Yeah.
cannot redeem themselves in any other way.
Yeah.
Then like I don't really have like a preference over them. I'm just like,
Yeah.
okay, like they're there for a storyline or like a season or whatever. But I mean, I don't know. I guess I just try and like be fair to I don't fair is not even the right word. Like, I don't know. I guess I just try and like be neutral to
Yeah.
everyone that I'm like watching. Cause I'm also like, well, these aren't like actual like real people. So like I don't have a reason to like hate them.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's just because like, you know, we both like work in like media professions, so we
Yeah.
can like kind of appreciate like how much effort goes into like creating content and
Yeah.
like, or like writing things or yeah, and so I don't know if it's like that kind of for me too, because like I can kind of, just like appreciate it. I don't know.
Mhm.
Or maybe it's just because yeah, we're both just not like super extreme people.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like obviously like yes, I absolutely despise Rosalind's character or like Caleb's, but can I
Right.
appreciate the heck out of Annie Wershing and Michael Cassidy for like acting the hell out of it? Yep,
Yeah.
certainly can.
Definitely. Yeah.
So, or
Yeah.
like
I
same with
mean,
like Armstrong or something. Like
oh yeah.
he could not redeem himself even if he wanted to, but Harold knocked it out of the park. So,
Yeah.
like I don't know, and so like with Tim's whole thing, I'm just kind of like, okay, do your thing, like whatever it is. Like I
Mhm.
don't, I'm sure Eric's gonna act the hell out of it, and it's gonna be, it's gonna offer a reaction, whether that be
Right.
good or bad. That's part of what TV is like they want to, because fans are gonna talk either way. If it's good or bad, they
Yeah.
want people to talk about it.
I mean, if it's good, we're all gonna scream about it. So, and if it's bad, we're
Yeah.
probably all gonna scream about it too. So,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I mean, I don't know, like going back to Ashley and Tim and like Chris and Lucy, like I I don't hate them. Like I don't really have a
No.
preference over them because one, I know that they're not gonna last. And two, like it's just like a little bump in the road for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, we'll see what happens. Tim will learn something or Lucy will learn something. Like, if anything, it'll help them. So yeah, I don't know.
Definitely.
But
I'm still kind of, I don't know, like because we hadn't seen Ashley in so long, I kind of forgot about
I
like
know.
where she and Tim were at. And so
We've only
I
seen her
had
in a few
kind of,
episodes.
yeah, and so I had kind of not preferred Chris and Lucy, especially not after Chris's whole debacle in, what was that, for 17,
Hmm.
right? I think. Um with the song thing. So I'm kind of, like soured on him, but just like, yeah, like you said, they're kind of just, like they're stepping stones
Yeah.
for them, like little bumps in the road. Like
Yeah.
Chenford's at the end of the road.
We just have to get there.
Yeah. They just gotta drive faster if we're going with the car
Yeah.
metaphors and roads and all that.
Do you think that, well, it's kind of hard to say this now, but like, do you think that Melissa and Eric, mostly Eric, is trolling us for the last two episodes?
Oh,
Saying like, we're cooking up some good stuff. Like, you're really gonna love this.
no, I
I mean, it's
don't.
hard to say.
Only because now that we have the description and it's like, okay, one, this is just me, like, because I've watched so many things that have like, first responder things or like, extremes like, trafficking and drugs and all this like crazy
Yeah.
stuff that happens. How can you have a possible drug like
Right.
undercover mission?
It's either happening or it's not.
Yeah, or it's not. I'm like, what is this? Like, it can't, it's like, because let's see, season 3 finale, let's remember, we had Lucy like literally gonna like cook up the,
Meth or
what was
whatever.
it? Yeah, or whatever drug it was. I don't know. And literally like do the thing because she was, the chemist or whatever, and was gonna like ship it out ready to go. Like, but she couldn't cross that line, obviously. And so it's like, if they're gonna go there and like drag it out that far, it's like, okay, where are they gonna push, Chenford to? Like,
Right. Well, I want to know what role Tim has in this undercover op. Like, what is he doing? Is he like her right hand man with like, I don't
is
know.
she
I
gonna be
just
the
don't
boss?
know.
Yes. Oh my god, that'd be so
Yes.
good though.
Oh my God. She's the boss and he's just like her bodyguard.
Oh my
Like,
god, yeah.
please. Oh my
Or
God.
just like something like, yeah, just where Lucy has a little bit more say.
Mhm.
Because then
Yeah.
she would run with that like 10 times over.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure that it's connected to the whole thing that John's doing, but like, I just need to know like how connected. I don't know. I have questions. And we'll see the promo after next week's
Oh
episode,
my
of
god,
course.
that's right, we
Which
will.
like it's
Whoa.
Mother's Day, and like I'm fully prepared to like scream.
Yeah. And I will literally, because the finale airs on my sister's birthday, so I'm like, I literally have to like go to work, probably do something for that, and be like, okay, 10 p.m. everything has to stop so I can watch it live. Like I
Yeah.
can't, I don't want to miss it. So I'm like that
Yeah.
excited.
I know
Well,
because you missed the Chenford dance
I
live.
know, I did. I know.
And I was just like,
Sad
I know that she knows what happens, but like, I don't want to spoil it.
was sad day. Well, and especially just because, like, full circle moment, they're gonna have like a motel, like at some point is gonna come up, or whatever penthouse or thing, whatever thing that they're like,
Mhm.
gonna be in. It's gonna have a room. It's gonna have a bed. We're
Watch
gonna have-
John Nolan get the penthouse in solitary confinement. Watch
Oh my
that
God.
happen.
I would crack up.
Because they
Oh my
were
God.
like, there was behind the scenes pictures and
Eric
stuff of them at a penthouse and then also a motel.
Yeah, Eric posted about the penthouse though. And
Yeah.
it's like not bad digs or whatever for Bradford, or not.
But then like it was
But yeah,
Ain or
watch it
someone that
be.
posted about the motel.
Yeah, watch it be. See, I don't know though, because like when I
Well,
think of like the John's going off in this like town or whatever, I'm thinking like, okay, like desert, like
yeah. Which is what we also saw too.
like not Joshua Tree, but like that area of
Yeah.
like California, like that kind of like scenic, but kind of like grungier, like dirtier, like
Mhm.
darker kind of side of it.
Maybe the drug deal takes place in the penthouse.
Maybe it's like if they get to be like, if they have to like go be with like pal around with like rich people, can they dress up all fancy?
Oh my God.
All that.
Literally all of our dreams might just come true with this undercover. Like I don't want to like
care though.
get my hopes up, but
I know,
I
yeah.
feel like it will.
Because if they like just roll up and like have like jeans and like t-shirts, I'm there for that too. Are you
Yeah. Oh
kidding?
yeah.
Like white t-shirt, Tim can come back.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll be fine. I'll be good with that.
Yeah. But yeah, no, if they like, well, because there's been fanfics written too about like them being undercover together and like having to like figure out, their arrangements and stuff. And it's just like people have manifested that, manifesting like them dressing up. Like we've already gotten them dressed up like at Angela's wedding, but like undercover dressed up Chenford, that would just be like cherry on the top.
Yeah.
For sure.
There's so many things.
So many. And
We just gotta
Alexi
get
wrote
through
and directed the
421.
episode. So if he gives us top tier Chenford content, like everybody say thank you, Alexi. Like,
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure. Or like, what is it that people say that I can never? Oh, it's like I've never said anything bad about
Yeah.
so and so.
Yeah.
Which I never forget. Maybe it's just because I don't usually say bad things about people.
Yeah.
I don't. It's like I'm not like that. But But yeah, no. If like Alexi's finally like kind of come around to it, or like accepted this like mayhem that is Chenford, like more power to him. But
Well,
also, I'm kind of sorry if if the fans have been so insistent that he's just kind of like, okay, fine, I give up.
Yeah.
But I mean, also, like Eric and Melissa are behind it too, so like that
Right.
makes it easier, I'm sure.
Well,
Hopefully.
like what's funny is everyone's like tweets about like Eric after he read the script and like Eric to Alexi after the script. And I'm just like, oh my God, all of this content, like the gifs, like the friends gif of Joey like opening the door and just like, hugging Chandler from behind.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, I love all of this.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. And I know Eric's still doing, or at least I'm assuming he's still going to be doing those like cameos or whatever. So I'm sure if people order those,
well, there was a message that someone DM'd us, like I think in our group chat with the rookie rewatch girls. And someone was like, don't worry, like I have a cameo video called booked like for May 5th. Like I'll ask Eric all these questions. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. I wonder if they'll live tweet. That'd be fun.
I hope
if
so.
If they do, at least for the finale.
I hope so. Especially like and if it's very not even like very Chenford heavy, but like if there's good Chenford moments, I just know that Eric and Melissa are gonna be on and just like
I hope
watching us
so.
just like break down.
I
Setting
will
Twitter
stay
on
up
fire.
until 1:30 my time for it to be what is that? 10
West
10:30
Coast.
time?
Yeah.
Yeah, or whatever it is. I've done it before. So I've like seen whenever like if they, happen to hop
Yeah.
on mentions or whatever, once
Yeah.
occasionally. I just
Um
realized we still have more still have more
yeah.
fans. This is what happens.
Not
Wow.
anymore. We just have like two more, but
Okay.
yeah,
Just felt bad. God.
Valerie had said she loved that they showed the FBI having old Huey helicopters.
Oh, is
They
that
were
why they have no doors?
yeah, I guess so.
Maybe.
I don't know. Them not having doors freaked me out. Like anything
Oh my
not
god.
having doors that moves freaks me out. Like when people take the doors off their Jeeps, I'm like, put those back on. And then they have like their foot sticking out of the Jeep. I'm like, nope, nope. Put that back
Yeah.
on, please.
No, I know. Yeah. Crazy.
She also said Smithy saving the day was great. And she liked all of Simone's interactions with everyone. She's a very interesting character. And then she shared some military trivia for the episode and said AWACS, what the FBI guy Garza called for, is a long-range surveillance plane, mostly used for early warning for missiles and enemy planes. She said, not sure what they would use it for in this instance. Um, but all are owned by the Air Force, as far as I know, which is pretty cool to know. So,
Maybe. Well, I don't know if they were just using it in like a general sense since it was like, explosives or like,
uh-huh.
uh a high volume, of like impactful devices that would destroy the city. I don't
Well,
know.
that and like the LA freeway is so long.
I
So
had no idea it was 500 miles. Are
I
you kidding
know.
me? I was like floored by that fact. I was like,
I
holy
mean,
crap.
I'm assuming that the footage that they showed of the overhead LA freeway, I mean, like that's what Grand Garza saw. But like,
Mhm.
I guess I didn't realize that the LA freeway is literally like just that one, like I don't know where I am, like there's, underpasses, there's ramps, like bypasses, all that. I guess maybe it was just where they were filming in LA. It was just like a solid street that just like went through the town. So, or
Yeah.
went through the city.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool to know.
So Janine had said, even though the episode was outstanding, like for last night, she can't get the promo out of her head. Same, obviously,
Same.
as you just heard us talk about for like 20 minutes.
Kara, you sent it to me last night, and like I watched it before I watched the episode, and I was just like sending you all cap tweets or all cap text messages, and I was like, she's not responding. I'm like, I know she doesn't really care, but like, I just have to
No,
watch this.
good. I was just smiling so much, and I was just like, "Yep, okay, she's watched it." Processing it. I just didn't want to get in the way of your like watching of the episode. So I was like, I'm just gonna wait until she's
Yeah,
like at least halfway. Janine said, guess we have to trust Eric and Melissa stating that we will love the last two episodes. Yes. Put the trust in the captains of the Chenford ship.
yeah. They're the only ones that know what's happening right now.
So true.
And know what happened. So
So true. She said, wow, we really need this spinoff. I really love the characters of Agent Fox and Simone working together. Yeah, for sure. She's wondering how much how much Tim got around before being married.
I saw quite a few people were tweeting that too. Someone was like,
I
well, we
must
know
have
he's
missed
got like,
that.
good game or something. And I was like, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't put it past him. I don't know.
Yeah. Um yeah, she's wondering if they'll get any more like of his like past um hookups showing up at any point.
I feel like we won't.
Yeah,
I don't know.
know. Cause like we got like seasons like 1 and 2, even though he, you know, was like with like Rachel in season 2 and had the drama with Isabel in season 1, it was like he was still like being flirted with on the job, you know, and we haven't gotten so much of that because it's been more like, you know, inward, like Chenford focused, but then it's also like we have a little bit of his past coming up in different ways this season. So who knows for season 5? I don't know. Kind of depends on how this season 4 finale shakes out, honestly.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, she was proud of Nolan for how he kept a straight face while Kate was like yelling at Tim. Yeah, I was proud of him too, honestly.
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't know how people like this, again, is probably why I can never be an actor, because like I don't know if I could keep straight faces.
I
in,
couldn't.
like, I mean, I probably, if it was like a sad serious, but if it's just like people like trying to yell at each other, I'm like, wait, this is so awkward.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. So yeah.
Well, and like last episode when John like got in the middle of Gray and Garza and we're like, it was like, guys, we're all just tired. Like I would just be over there like laughing my head off because I would be like, Nolan, just sit down. Like you don't need to be in this.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Simone is really smart, and Janine feels like if this spinoff takes up, we will have so many crossovers. Oh yeah, crossovers, more crossovers, especially since we haven't gotten any for like our other shows that we watch.
I love crossovers. Give me
That'd
all of
be
it,
so
please.
fun. Yeah, for sure. Because I guess, I mean, this technically, I mean, I guess it's, what is it in technical TV terms, is the like backdoor pilot or whatever, but I'm still counting it as their first like little crossover.
For sure, yeah.
Event.
I just like seeing other characters like interact with like people that they don't usually hang with.
And especially now that we know that James and Simone know each other too.
I was not expecting that.
I wasn't either.
I was like, whoa, that's a new plot twist.
Yeah. And she feels like so many things happened off screen in this episode, like Simone finding out that Nyla and James are married. Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I was like, oh yeah, and Simone mentioned Nyla, that she met back at the station. Like, yeah.
And she was like, you move fast, and he was like, well, when you know, you know. I was like, that's a good answer, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very like diplomatic answer.
Yeah.
Janine says we need those scenes. It ranks up there with Gerald the goat. Yeah. There's so many, I think I said that like if it wasn't last episode, it was the episode before this. Or like what am I saying? 2 episodes ago is what I'm trying to say. Like of this podcast, I mean, that I was like, why do they do that lately? Like, you know, they talk about scenes that they didn't actually like film, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I would love to know more about these like off, you know, but I also want to know about the off-screen moments as well.
Yeah.
She loved that Smitty was involved in the trucks and stopped one. One of her favorite lines is still what Gray said to Smitty. So she said it was a great episode. She missed Lucy running the command center. We had 2 scenes with her, but it was not enough.
Yeah, I agree.
I know some people were like, where did Lucy go? She disappeared. Come back. And I was like, yeah.
But like on the flip side, like we got to learn a little bit more about Garza and Fox, like whereas in the first episode we didn't. So it was cool to see. Like it kind of flipped, and it was more about the new characters, like and who they would be coming in as.
Yeah. Plus, you know, they'll make up for it, you know, next week and the week after, hopefully.
Yeah, they will. Yeah, hopefully. I mean, in some way.
Yeah.
We just unfortunately have to get through the rest of this week before we get Sunday's episode.
Hey, it's better than having a whole week like off or something, you know, like hiatus, like or break rather.
Yeah.
In between.
Yeah.
I could not do
so
that.
Nope. So that was the episode. Yeah, it was a good one. I mean, of course, we're all like waiting for next week. So it's just like, let's just get there. But yeah, you guys can find us on Twitter at the Shop Talk Pod _ or email us at shoptalktherookiepodcast@gmail.com with all of your thoughts. You can find us individually on Twitter as well. I'm at jstark804.
And I'm at Carrie Hyman.
And we are, well, we should start thinking about like some summer hiatus episodes because hiatus is like
coming fast.
2 weeks away.
I know.
And yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you guys want rookie merch, TeePublic is having sales all the time, so you can find some cool things on our storefront. But we'll be back next week to discuss 421 and all the Chenford goodness. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Go get him, boo.